So I'm gonna go ahead and start recording.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the third member of his race to receive the coveted Nobel Peace Prize, and he was the first in the Western world to show that a struggle is waged without violence. That is the way Father John described him when, as chairman of the Norwegian Parliament's Nobel Committee, he awarded the international honor to Dr. King at Oslo University, December 10, 1964. He was the 114th American and the youngest man to receive the honor. That day was so meaningful for the entire civil rights movement as it was personally for Dr. King. He was no longer a private individual. His cause was absorbed into a larger national cause, and he alone became a symbol of international brotherhood. Welcome to the 13th annual celebration to honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King came to Memphis, Tennessee in 1968 to aid in the sanitation workers' strike and their plight to achieve some respect in employment and an increase in their wages. It was known that they worked under horrific conditions by handling garbage. And it is said that maggots would get all over their clothing. And it was so overwhelming, the stench that followed them home every day. Now, of course, as you know now that those conditions have improved tremendously. They're able to clean themselves, take a shower before they go to their families. Dr. King addressed these conditions in a famous speech titled, "I have been to the mountaintop, I have looked over and I have seen the promised land," which was delivered at Mason Temple, the Church of God in Christ, known as COGIC, C-O-G-I-C. It is said that Dr. King was very fond of the song titled, "Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, lest we stand," and had expressed that he wanted for Mahalia Jackson to sing that song at his funeral. His wish was granted, and she performed that song at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, at his eulogy. Today we go forward to honor his legacy and those who have worked tirelessly and are still working to achieve the goals of Dr. King as we follow. I'll share now our program plans for the morning. I'm Philip Dotson, providing the greeting. Introduction to our president, Miss Avion Robinson. She is the reigning Miss LeMoyne Owen College, and she is going to introduce our president, Dr. Vernell A. Bennett Fairs, who will give the welcome, and that will be followed by a presentation of the Dr. Cheryl Golden Award by Professor Michael Robinson. He is chair, Social and Behavioral Sciences Division, and he's going to present today our honoree, Mr. Steve Schular. He is Special Assistant Neighborhood Concerns, the City of Memphis Mayor's Office for the Honorable Jim Strickland, Mayor. Be followed by goals for today with Miss Janet Boscarino. She is Executive Director of Clean Memphis. Followed by the closing prayer by Mr. Justice Rice. He is the reigning Mr. LeMoyne Owen College. And then I will come back and give special thanks to those who have helped to put on this program and to administer the process of our moving forward. Ms. Avion Robinson.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. On January 5th, 2021, Dr. Vernell A. Bennett Ferris became the 13th president of LeMoyne Owen College. Dr. Bennett Ferris is a trained vocalist and orator who has served as an associate professor and college administrator. However, her most cherished role is that of student advocate. Most recently, Dr. Bennett Ferris served as the vice president of student affairs at Delta State University. During her tenure at DSU, Dr. Bennett Ferris founded the Okra Patch, an engagement initiative for the entire university community. A native of Lorain, Ohio, Dr. Bennett Ferris began her post-secondary career at Kentucky State University as a non-tenure track instructor of music. Dr. Bennett Ferris' career spanned 20 years at KSU, where her final role was the Vice President of Student Affairs. Of all her accolades, her most prized honors are those bestowed upon her by the students, which include the KSU Girls Rock Woman of the Year Award, the SGA Award of Accomplishment, and her first DSU Student Award, a Lady Statesman Emerald Award of Excellence for Top Female Administrator. Dr. Bennett Ferris is a current protege in the 2020-2021 cohort of the American Association of State Colleges and Universities Millennium Leadership Initiative. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and the Mississippi Delta chapter of Links Incorporated. Dr. Bennett received a Bachelor's of Music in Vocal Performance from Fisk University, a Master's of Art in Vocal Performance from Eastern Michigan University, and a Doctorate of Education in Administration and Instruction from the University of Kentucky. Dr. Bennett Ferris is married to Patrick Ferris and has one adult son, Jeffrey. Welcome to the virtual podium, Dr. Bennett Ferris.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Avion. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this most worthy annual endeavor, LeMoyne Owen College's 13th annual MLK Day of Service. Let your actions of today be in support of someone else's needs. Titles, social economic status, race, creed, nor color matter when we serve. Dr. King was the prime example of being an example. He was a reflection of what he advocated and what he encouraged others to be. Thank you to Professors Dotson and Robinson for your example by coordinating this annual day. What will your actions of today reflect? Let the way that you serve reflect passion and compassion for mankind. Welcome.
Mr. Robinson, you're on mute. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. There you go.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Professor Michael Robinson, Chair of the Division of Social and Behavioral Sciences. It is my honor this morning to present the prestigious Golden Award this morning. Many of us were friends and colleagues of Dr. Golden. And as we celebrate this legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King today, we also celebrate the legacy of Dr. Cheryl Golden. Because Cheryl Golden was one of the pioneers and founders of the LeMoyne Owen College Community Partnership. She dedicated her life to service and truth here at LeMoyne Owen College. She was a psychology professor. She was a minister. She was a friend. But more than anything, she was a servant. She exemplified the courage, the truth, the honor, the love for community, just like Dr. Martin Luther King. She was an example for all of us to follow in the steps of Dr. King. We will always remember the love and the legacy of Dr. Cheryl Golden. We can remember her in her white truck with her dog, Joe, riding around the community, helping us to clean up the community. She did this with passion, and she did it with love, and she did it with care, and she did it with concern. But more than anything, she did it unconditionally. She set an example for all of us to follow. So on this day, we remember the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, but we also remember the legacy of our friend, of our colleague, Dr. Cheryl Golden. At this time, I would like to present the Golden Award. At this time, I would like for Mr. Steve Schular to come forward, please.
Yay.
As I
Steve.
review on the award, it says, the Golden Award, presented to Steve Schular for your dedication and commitment to the LeMoyne Owen College Community Partnership 2021. And I will allow Mr. Schular to say a few words as he receives this award.
Thank you so much, Professor Robinson, and to the president and all of those at LeMoyne Owen. I'm very honored to be here today. You know, Dr. King knew it and lived it. And Dr. Golden knew it and lived it. And what did they know and how did they live? They lived by one thought. That is that service to the community is not doing things for people, but with them. And all of us at the city of Memphis want to take this opportunity to say thank you to LeMoyne for all of the work that you've been doing now for the last 13 years. It was January 21st, Dr. Robinson, that we gathered here out in the parking lot over by the Student Center, January 21st of 2008, if I recall. And since then, the work has been going on, and I'd just like to offer a challenge. I've been carrying around these gloves in the trunk of my car that Janet Boscarino gave me many years ago. But let these gloves signify that the work has just really started. These gloves have been worn now all those years, and we've picked up a lot of tires, a lot of trash, a lot of things in the community. But let these gloves not be just taken off, but let them be put back on today. And so hopefully a year from now, we'll all be back to celebrate things that we have been able to do on behalf of the college and for the neighborhood. So thank you again for this opportunity, and I just want to thank you again for the chance to be here today. Thank you.
Appreciate it. You could keep this.
Yes, I just have a couple words to say about that wonderful, wonderful person. I remember the day that he and I were working on Dudley Street over by Elmwood Cemetery. And I think that day we probably picked up around 400 and some car tires throughout the neighborhood, because there is a direct correlation between the cleanliness of a neighborhood and crime. You know, blight invites crime. So I just thank you, and I remember the day that you were working and you picked up this car tire and you threw it up on the truck, and it just Oh, back in your face, and it was in his mouth. He spit for 3 hours after that. But it takes a tremendous effort, and it takes a tremendous team of people to do the LeMoyne Owen College Community Partnership. We call it also JPA, is Joint Police Action. You know, the city wouldn't be the same without you guys as leaders. You know, I've seen leaders that come in and they focus on just leading, and they don't go outside of their comfort zone to really make an impact. And you guys really make an impact to make this a better place to live. And for that, we're so absolutely grateful. Last year, our honoree was Miss Janet Boscarino. She received the Cheryl Golden Award. Very richly deserved. Very richly deserved. She has been a cornerstone for us ever since we started, when Dr. Golden first put together the concept of the LOCCP. We're so thankful to have you and as a member of our team. Now, the goals for today will be articulated by Janet, and if you would, some way today, follow her lead.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here. I don't know how you would spend an MLK day without being at LeMoyne. That's what we've been here for 13 years, and so it feels like family. I was driving over here. I was coming down Bellevue, and I think it was the Lehman Roberts folks were out planting trees on that on the hill over there, and it just like, oh, I wanted to pull over and get out and help them. And so it's such an honor to be here to remember Dr. King. And I thought about Dr. Golden so many times this past year or two, when we really needed her voice in such crazy times. I would have just sat down with her and have a cup of coffee and just hear her words of wisdom. She always had such a good view of things and a way to sort of calm you internally and focus you in a direction. So we certainly honor and miss her today. And I can't think of a better public servant than Steve Schular. We've been working together for years, and he's so dedicated. And I just, his whole life is about making Memphis better and being there for people in a very real way. So I appreciate you and all the work that you do, and appreciate LeMoyne and being a speaking in a community. We've worked for years to do different projects, and it's a little weird and different today. And I'll have to tell you how many people have reached out to me over the past week or two to say, are we doing our project at LeMoyne? They wanted to show up. You know, they wanted to be here. They've made it an annual event for themselves and their family, and so they were sad that we couldn't be here in person to go out in the community like we normally do. But that doesn't mean that we can't. You know, we've always treated the MLK Day of Service as not a once a year thing, but a way that we kick off our year of service and our attitude and belief of service in our everyday lives. There are people out today doing a variety of things on their own and with their families, and I think it's important for us to realize that that's what we can do every day. There are many people hurting right now, so donating to the food bank or working for a local food or a kitchen that's feeding people. There are over 100 of those in town, and so you can find those through the food bank, and they can connect you where you can serve real need right now because of the pandemic. There's so many people in need. That's a perfect way for you to donate or to serve your time. There are also plenty of opportunities today. If you look on Volunteer Odyssey or Volunteer Mid-South's website, they have a variety of opportunities that you can plug into. You can do simple things like going out into your own neighborhood and putting your gloves on that Steve has, and just get out into your neighborhood, go to your local park. Parks have been such a place of refuge for us during the pandemic, and they've seen just an incredible uptick in use, but also an uptick in litter and need there. So get out with your own family and do things in your community in that way. Just look around you. You probably have a neighbor who you could run to the grocery store for, or you could do any type of project for, help them clean up their yard. There are a variety of ways in which you can be involved today, but not only today. As we move forward in this year to come, we're full of hope that we can get this pandemic behind us. We're full of hope that we can be unified together and making our country a better place. And I just challenge you to keep that in your heart and mind moving forward today and in the days to come. Thank you for being here.
Janet, we certainly thank you. You have been a cornerstone for us ever since we started this operation with Dr. Golden. Just thank the both of you guys because you all have really been with us. You've laid with us, and we have done many, many cleanups. I can't imagine what this neighborhood would look like without having you guys work with us over the last 13 years. It would be horrible. But because of your unselfish giving of yourselves and the teams that you facilitate, the community is much greater. And Steve, as you know, I call you quite often about sending out sweepers to sweep the streets. And you always use your influence to help us with that. And certainly thank you. Janet, what do I say? Just recently, just east of the interstate, there was a huge pile of trash. Had no idea how it got there. But you sent your people out to work on that for us. LeMoyne College and the whole neighborhood is a much better place to live because of your efforts. The LeMoyne Owen College Community Partnership consists of Shelby County Sheriffs, Code Enforcement, the Health Department, Memphis Police Department, of course, Clean Memphis. Those are my main ones. Clean Memphis, Memphis City Beautiful. The list is so long. I may just not remember some of them, but the list is very long. But we have just really incredible people. Usually, the director over at the crop station is usually involved with us, or he will assign one of the lieutenants to come in and do the presentation on the crime stats that have gone on during a particular month. But we're very, very attuned to what goes on in the community. And I'm thankful that we're able to do that because, as you know, there is an uptick in crime, not only because of the COVID-19, but because of some of the other stress elements in our community right now, and even in our country. And I hope that many people will start to realize the dream that Dr. King had about nonviolence and brotherhood and how important it is that we, what you say, get along. You know, what they call good trouble, we need to now start to engage in good trouble because the country has been going in a kind of sad direction, but hopefully now things will start to turn around. And it's going to take some effort because we still have to deal with COVID-19 as well as what's going on within general of society. I now want to have Mr. Justice Rice, the reigning Mr. LeMoyne Owen College, to give his culminating prayer, and then I will come back with some closing remarks. Justice, you can unmute your mic, please.
Right. May the strength of God sustain. May the power of God preserve us. May the hands of God protect us. May the way of God direct us. The Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face shine upon us and be gracious to us. And may the love of God go with us this day and forever. In Jesus' name, amen.
Wonderful prayer. Thank you, my son. I call him my son because he had art from me a couple years back, and he was a joy to work with. I've never seen anyone so eager to improve in whatever it was that he was doing. I want to give special thanks and recognition to Professor Ruby Hardy Mentor. She is the director of Mr. and Miss LeMoyne, and everyone that tries to do anything that is per se outstanding on the campus as far as public delivery. She has been a cornerstone for us for many years. And Mr. and Ms. LeMoyne are serving now for the year of 20 and 21. I want to give special thanks to Dr. Teresa A. Jones. She's a Title III coordinator and administrator. Without her help, we couldn't do any of the things that we are presently doing. And Miss Adisha Reese, she's Director of Communications, a very resourceful person, and she multitasks so well. She is so busy. And I felt bad for calling on her to have to help us out with getting the videotape of our president, but she was a real trooper. She had it done, and of course, in a very professional manner. So we are thankful for that. I also want to give special thanks and recognition to Ms. Kendra Ragland Hill. She's the Administrative Assistant to the Social and Behavioral Sciences Division. It's been really great for us today. I want to share this with you because if I don't, a lot of you probably will never see it. But this book was printed by the Mallory Knights, and Mr. Strong and Mr. Dr. Reverend Strong and Mr. Walter Rogers. Mr. Rogers, of the people that were working with ASBE and also with the Mallory Knights Charitable Organization, Mr. Walter Rogers was the last one. He was the last of all the guys that were associated with the organization of putting that together to bring Dr. King into the city. And there were 3 of these books left. And he left them to LeMoyne Owen College. And they wanted for me to keep them because they knew that I would preserve them. So right now, 2 of them are behind glass in the administration building here with a sculpture that the Mallory Knights raised funds for. They raised $125,000 to pay for this sculpture in 1991-92. $125,000. And the artist that did it is Mr. Richard Hunt, who is still alive. He's a very prolific artist, has more than 150 commissions in major cities around the world. An incredible artist. And if you ever want to see the sculpture to honor Dr. King's speech, if I've been to the mountaintop, you will be able to see that down by the FedEx Forum. It's that large, it's called Cortian steel, but it's a large sculpture that was fabricated and brought to Memphis and installed down by the convention center initially, and then a few years ago it was moved down to the south end of the city in front of FedEx Forum by the little park down there. So if you're down in that area, please go by and look at it and read the names of those people who were responsible for making strides to show that we are all one people. I thank you so much for your attention. May you be blessed today, and don't forget to do something kind for someone today, even if it only entails you speaking to them, but go out of your way to speak to them. If you can do a deed for them, do that. Bless you.